The Widow, Episode 14. The rain fell heavily on that dark night, mirroring the tears Isabella silently wept. The death of her beloved Ricardo still hurt, an open wound in her heart. But then a warm and unexpected smile made her shiver. Daniel, a mysterious and kind man, appeared in her life like a ray of sunshine in the midst of the storm. Would he be Isabella's chance to finally heal her wounds? Or would it be just another trap set by Ricardo's own brother, Alvaro, who always secretly loved Isabella and would never accept seeing her in another man's arms? The shadow of revenge hung in the air as a new love began to blossom, a love that could cost her life. The rain beat hard against the window panes, as if wanting to enter and embrace Isabella in its cold, damp hug. Silent tears streamed down her face, reflecting the pain that still hammered in her chest. It had only been a few months since Ricardo, her beloved, had passed away, leaving an immense emptiness, a black hole that seemed to suck away all the joy that once inhabited her heart. She had promised never to love again, never to open her heart to another man. Isabella built a wall around herself, a wall of ice that no one, she thought, would be able to melt. But fate, as always, had other plans. Daniel emerged into her life like a miracle, an unexpected ray of sunshine in the midst of the storm. He was kind, mysterious, with a gaze that seemed to read her soul, a smile that warmed the ice that imprisoned her heart. He made her laugh, made her forget, even if only for a few moments, the pain that consumed her. Daniel was a safe harbor in the midst of the whirlwind of emotions that beset her, but Isabella hesitated. How could she trust in love again after the betrayal, if there was a betrayal, of fate? Alvaro, Ricardo's brother, watched everything from afar, hidden in the shadows. His love for Isabella was a silent passion, a flame lit years ago, fueled by a secret he kept in his heart, a love that never had a chance to bloom. He had never accepted his beloved's union with Ricardo, always desiring her for himself. Now, seeing Isabella getting closer to another man, an immense fury consumed him, corroding him from within. The possibility of Isabella finding happiness in the arms of someone other than himself was unbearable. His love transformed into hatred, a darkness that threatened to consume him entirely. With each furtive meeting with Daniel, Isabella felt her wall of ice begin to crack. The delicate touches, the complicit glances, the words whispered in her ear. All of this threatened to destroy the fortress she had built with so much effort. And worse, she felt a perverse pleasure in surrendering to this fragility, to this delicious threat of letting herself be loved. With every smile she exchanged with Daniel, Alvaro clenched his fists, his teeth gritted with the force of his anger. The love Isabella felt for Daniel, a love she herself still hesitated to admit to herself, was a knife that pierced deeply into his heart. One night, under the dim light of a full moon hidden behind gray clouds, Daniel declared his love for Isabella. His words, affectionate and sincere like a gentle balm, touched her wounded soul. For a moment, Isabella felt herself float, enveloped in a sea of affection, feeling as if she were flying. But soon the shadow of fear and doubt invaded her again. The past haunted her, the ghost of Ricardo pursued her, and Alvaro's contained hatred was a constant threat, a sword hanging over their heads. She could see the danger, the possibility of sadness settling into her life again. While Isabella battled her own demons, Alvaro plotted his revenge. He not only intended to separate Isabella from Daniel, but he wanted to destroy him, to make him pay for daring to invade his territory, the territory of his forbidden love. His blind obsession guided him, obscuring his reason, making him capable of committing terrible acts to achieve his goal. Alvaro was not an ordinary man. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, capable of smiling while plotting the downfall of his enemies. The atmosphere became denser, charged with a palpable tension. The rain, which had stopped, was only a harbinger of the storm that was approaching, a storm of emotions, of secrets, of love and hate, a storm that could destroy everything and everyone. Isabella and Daniel were in love, but love couldn't be that easy. Isabella's past, Alvaro's obsession, were forces that threatened to separate the lovers, and Isabella's heart longed for some peace. But would that peace be possible? Or did fate reserve a tragic ending for this forbidden love story? The answer was yet to come, hidden in the shadows of the night, waiting to be revealed. The rain finally stopped, but the air remained heavy, charged with a tension that Isabella felt on her skin. Daniel's kiss, still echoing on her lips, was sweet as honey but bitter as gall. The happiness he had given her was a double-edged sword. While it healed her, it left her vulnerable. The memory of Ricardo's smile, the love that was once so intense, returned with force, like a wave that dragged her to the depths of sadness. She wondered if she would be able to love again, truly, without the pain of the past haunting her. The image of Alvaro, always present in the corners of her mind, bothered her. Alvaro watched Isabella's apartment window, hidden behind a large, dark tree. His eyes, full of rage, gleamed in the twilight. The image of Isabella in Daniel's arms consumed him, driving him slowly mad. The pain of losing Ricardo forever, still pungent, painful, seemed minuscule compared to the pain of the imminent loss of Isabella. He wanted her only for himself, no matter how much he had to suffer or make others suffer. He clenched his fists, his nails digging into his skin, as if trying to suffocate the beast that stirred within him. He had to act. He needed to separate them, no matter the cost. The next day, Isabella woke up with a strange feeling, a rush she couldn't explain. A bad premonition, a knot in her throat that choked her. She tried to call Daniel, but the phone only gave her voicemail. A pang of despair hit her squarely. She tried, unsuccessfully, to reach him. The anguish increased with each passing minute. She began to fear the worst. Then a phone call. A hoarse, menacing voice on the other end of the line. It was a voice she knew. It was a man who didn't want her to be happy with another. The voice whispered like a serpent hissing in her ear. "Daniel is no longer here?" Isabella froze. It took her a while to grasp the reality. Panicked, Isabella ran to Daniel's apartment. There she found a terrifying scene, a ransacked apartment, broken objects, a trail of destruction and chaos. The scene paralyzed her. Fear took hold of her like a web that imprisoned her, tightening her chest, preventing her from breathing. It was there that she saw a note left by Alvaro. The handwriting was firm and audacious. The note contained a single, implacable and raw message. Alvaro had kidnapped Daniel, and he wanted Isabella. He wanted her to return to him. A cruel and dangerous game, where Isabella was the ultimate prize. His revenge was indeed a cruel game. Isabella finally realized Alvaro's true face. The mask of the amiable brother had fallen, revealing a cruel and obsessed man capable of any atrocity. Pain, rage, and despair mingled in her heart, creating a whirlwind of emotions that made her tremble. It wasn't just the love for Daniel that consumed her, but also the concern for his life. She needed to save him, and she had to be quick. With the help of a private detective that Ricardo had hired previously, Isabella began to track Alvaro's movements. With each clue found, fear transformed into strength, propelling her to move forward. She had lost Ricardo, but she wouldn't lose Daniel too. Her love for Daniel gave her strength, an unwavering will to fight. The weight of the world was on her shoulders, but she was willing to carry it, if it meant bringing Daniel back and, perhaps, obtaining justice for Ricardo's death. Alvaro's revenge might be cruel and devastating, but Isabella wouldn't let it defeat her. She wouldn't let herself be carried away by a sea of suffering. The fight was just beginning, and she was ready to fight, to save her love at all costs. The rain, which had stopped, left behind a heavy, humid air, clinging to Isabella's skin like a wet cotton sheet. Daniel's kiss, still fresh in her memory, was both a balm and a knife plunged into her chest. The happiness he had given her, ephemeral and sweet, now seemed like a distant dream, threatened by an imminent nightmare. The memory of Ricardo's smile, so vivid and striking, haunted her, a specter that pulled her back into the darkness. Could she love again, truly, without the past assaulting her? The image of Alvaro, always present, like an ember forgotten under the ashes, haunted her. Alvaro, hidden behind the twisted trunk of an old tree, watched Isabella's apartment window. His dark and furious eyes gleamed in the twilight. The image of Isabella in Daniel's arms consumed him, corroding him from within. The pain of losing Ricardo, the felt betrayal, because Ricardo had betrayed him in life, by preferring Isabella, still pungent, became irrelevant in the face of the threat of losing Isabella too. He wanted her, and he didn't care about the means. He was a wounded man, and the thirst for revenge consumed him like cancer. He clenched his fists, his nails digging into his skin, in a futile effort to suffocate the beast that raged within him. It was time to act. He needed to separate them, no matter the cost. The phone rang. Isabella answered, her heart pounding in her chest. A hoarse, menacing voice echoed from the other side. It was a voice that chilled her to the bone, a voice she knew very well, a voice that didn't want her to be happy. The voice hissed, cold and cruel, like the hiss of a snake. "Daniel is no longer here, ... Isabella's world collapsed. Warm tears streamed down her face, mixing with the traces of the rain that had fallen the previous night. Panic overwhelmed her, a tsunami of overwhelming emotions that threw her into a sea of despair. She ran to Daniel's apartment, her heart pounding as if it wanted to escape from her chest. There, she found a scene of destruction and chaos that left her breathless. The apartment was ransacked, objects broken, thrown to the floor without any respect. A fetid smell of violence hung in the air, suffocating her. The sight paralyzed her, leaving her immobile, petrified with fear. The feeling of tightness in her chest suffocated her as if wanting to take her to a bottomless abyss. Among the rubble, a note, left by Alvaro, like a macabre trophy of his revenge. The handwriting was firm, audacious, cruel. The message was simple, direct, and terrible. Daniel was kidnapped, and Isabella was the next piece in Alvaro's cruel game. Isabella fell to her knees, the pain in her heart growing with each passing second. The note contained an address, a remote place lost in the mountains. Alvaro wanted her there. He wanted her to return to him. The mask of the amiable brother had fallen, revealing Alvaro's true face, a cruel, obsessive man, capable of any atrocity to satisfy his insatiable thirst for revenge. Pain, rage, despair mingled in her heart, creating a whirlwind of emotions that made her tremble. But fear did not paralyze her. The love for Daniel, the memory of the happiness they had lived together, ignited a flame of hope in her heart. She would not lose Daniel. On the way to the place indicated by Alvaro, Isabella remembers a private detective hired by Ricardo months before. Without hesitation, she finds him and tells him everything, asking for his help to save Daniel. With every kilometer traveled, fear transformed into strength, propelling her forward. She had lost Ricardo, but she wouldn't lose Daniel too. Love propelled her, gave her strength and unwavering will to fight. She would carry the weight of the world on her shoulders if it meant bringing Daniel back. Alvaro's revenge was cruel, devastating, but Isabella wouldn't let herself be defeated. She would fight. She would fight for her love, for her life, for her happiness, at any cost. Night approached, carrying with it the promise of a final confrontation. The fight was just beginning. But when they arrived at the indicated place, they found only a burned car with no sign of Daniel. A new note was left at the scene. "You lost, Isabella," the message read. "Now it's your turn.